Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw. Today we are continuing our season previews. 23-24 is coming soon. The Premier League is nearly upon us.
Coming very soon.
Very, very soon. Soon come Premier League. And today we're going to be discussing none other than the boys who managed to escape the relegation zone.
Everybody was like, these guys, man, they signed so many players. La-di-da-di-da. As if a Premier League team that's worth millions and billions doesn't have nous and kind of smarts behind it. They're listening to Joe Blogs on his TikTok account going, oh, they signed 25 players. They're going to go down because there's no sense in that. Shut up, you mug.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the only bad thing this season for them is that when they go to City, they can't sing Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that.
Yeah, ush.
Yeah, it's about time someone.
You can sing at Arsenal if you want. Anyway, Nottingham Forest. So, they came up to the Prem and everybody...
They splashed the cash.
Was on their case for splashing the cash.
Yeah, they won the
like
playoffs under Mr. Steve Cooper.
Coops.
And they were playing fantastic football. Literally took them from Championship relegation candidates to Premier League survivors. Which is
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's what you want to see, mate. I wouldn't mind
A
that.
team like Nottingham Forest, big club, haven't been in the Prem in a hot minute.
Yeah, hot.
So to get them back to the Prem, stuff of dreams. A lot of Nottingham Forest fans, from what I saw on the timeline, they'd like grown up with them in the Prem. Obviously, they got relegated and all that situation. They've had kids now that are only used to them not being in the Prem. So I've seen so many stories of like families that are like never seen, or their kids have never seen them in the Prem, but the parents have, and they finally see them in Prem. Sick stuff. That is the stuff of dreams.
It is the stuff of dreams. Should we talk about how they got on last season?
So how did they get on last season, mate? Talk to me.
They did all right. Let's talk about their transfers.
You can't do that.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
they obviously
did good.
Yeah, no, it was a rough start for them, and they got to about a midway point, and they had to make a decision whether they were going to stick with Mr. Cooper or not. And they stuck by him. They backed him in the transfer window. They brought in a plethora of players. They brought in some experienced names like Keylor Navas.
Yeah.
And it proved fruitful for them because they actually avoided relegation quite comfortably in the end.
I think that was the remit.
Yeah, and they done it.
Down.
They brought some really good players along the way. Like obviously they had Brennan Johnson already, who was their sort of star man.
Yeah.
But Morgan Gibbs-White, what a player he is.
Yeah, they got a new star boy now.
Yeah, Taiwo Awoniyi really caught some form before towards the end of the season.
Quality player.
I think he could be a really good asset for them coming up. Jesse Lingard, still making TikToks.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Not that you give a fuck because you're a millionaire, but
yeah,
fan of you, Jesse.
No, they did. They brought in a whole lot of players, and it was a dangerous game what they played. But sometimes you like to see it pay off.
Yeah,
we lived the dream.
It shows that he's a good manager. That he has kind of curated this squad. He's figured out what works for him. He's tried out a variety. I know they played a variety of different formations in the Prem last season, and so he's found one that works. Finally got a system, players playing in the right places. Like, he tried two up top with Awoniyi and Brennan Johnson. He tried Chris Wood up there for a bit. And he's kind of settled with Awoniyi being the star striker. Brennan Johnson, one side. We'll talk about who they've just signed, who I think will be the perfect addition to the other side. And then Morgan Gibbs-White, who kind of bloomed into one of the best creative midfielders in the Prem towards the end of the season.
He was unbelievable.
Mate, the way they played against Arsenal last game of the season absolutely embarrassed us. And yeah, they've just got so many players that are young, which is like good. With Stevie Cooper coming up from the England under-21s, he's used to curating a squad of young players that he can kind of develop into something special. And I think that's what he's doing with this Nottingham Forest team.
They signed Nico Williams, didn't they?
They did. I'm impartial on that signing.
Yeah, it didn't really work out too well for them. No. Should we? We'll move on after that very brief summary of their previous season and talk about how they're getting on the transfer window, because that's what everyone wants to talk about, really.
Come on, we're talking about now. Fuck the past. So they're moving not as mad as they have been in the transfer window this time, but one name that I think a lot of Nottingham Forest fans will be excited to have on the team sheet, and I think he'll get straight into that team sheet, is Anthony Elanga from Manchester United.
Yeah, it's it's a signing which surprised me a little bit because United, he sort of burst onto the scene there. He done really well for a bit, and was it under Solskjaer? He done really well, and then it hasn't really worked for him. He sort of just faded into nothingness, and you can clearly tell as a player there, and he was very much in the fruition at Man United for like a starting 11 place. I thought maybe he might get that chance with how sort of weak they are in that forward line.
Yeah.
But they obviously spent a lot of money on Jadon Sancho, on Anthony. Probably feels like he hasn't got a chance there at the minute. So, yeah, a move down to Nottingham Forest probably could prove quite fruitful for him. I think he's a talented player, and I think you were making this point earlier, could be the perfect addition to that left-hand side alongside Awani in the middle and Brennan Johnson on the right. Because that's a forward three with some pace, some power, and some technical ability.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's a very good move. One thing I think they need to do is sort out the goalkeeping situation, because I know they got Keylor Navas, who we thought was a really good signing, but that was not for permanent. That was only a loan. So they're back to kind of their goalkeeping dilemma, where I know Dean Henderson was their preferred choice. He's gone back to Man United. I don't know if a deal with Man United is going to materialise or not. But another name that they've been linked with is Matt Turner from Arsenal, who is our reserve goalkeeper, US men's national goalkeeper. I think he's a good goalkeeper, can play out with his feet quite well. His shot stopping is a little bit air, but I think he is one of those players that, obviously, playing second fiddle to Aaron Ramsdale, you're not going to get in the team. Maybe a move for him is good.
For me, I liked what they did with Keylor Navas last season, but if they can't get him back again, is most likely. I personally would take Dean Henderson. I think
so too.
I think Dean Henderson. You're not in the Forest. You're not going to dominate every game. You're not going to dominate half your games. A lot of teams are going to have a lot of shots on target against you. You need an outrageous shot stopper. We saw what happened with Bernd Leno at Fulham. He was unreal for them last season. He's one of the best shot stoppers probably in the league. They got him for a cut price. You probably won't get Dean Henderson for a cut price, but he would be worth every penny to you. I think the only thing he might feel a bit hard done by is that he was playing for them last season, and then
another perk of going for Dean Henderson over Matt Turner is you don't have to listen to Matt Turner's annoying American accent in the changing room.
Yeah. What was the
Aaron Ramsdale was like he's got the dog in him or some shit like that.
It's a dog fight out there.
Oh yeah. It's a dog fight out there. It's like fucking hell. I'm chinning.
Yeah, no, it is a dilemma. It's an interesting one, but it's one they probably want to solve fairly quickly with the season fast approaching. You want to have that your goalkeeper cemented and comfortable with his back line prior to the season starting. But yeah, I think Dean Henderson. The only thing is, I'm thinking like you're looking at. I've brought these names up quite a lot in these previews, but David Raya and Roberto Sanchez, two brilliant goalkeepers who seem to be available for purchase.
Can't see either of them going to Nottingham Forest though.
Well, I don't know. The right money comes in.
Forest got 40 mil to spend on a goalkeeper.
I mean, when you look at that and you think Man United got Onana for 45.
Another signing that I think is quite good. A right back. I've said that I'm not the biggest Nico Williams fan. Well, actually, no. I quite like him. I had him on my signings to keep an eye on.
What about Serge Aurier?
But then he disappointed me this season, Nico Williams. And then Serge Aurier took his place. I think Serge Aurier is all right. Bit of a bozo defender.
Bit of a loose cannon. Yeah, he would be good with alongside
Cucurella, yeah. Mate, those two together with Romero in the middle.
And Harry Maggs.
Jesus Christ. Is what that is. But Ola Aina, I think, is a very good signing. He's very technically gifted right back. Played for Fulham when they came up in the Prem a couple of seasons ago. Then he went on loan to Serie A and then made a permanent move to Serie A. I like him. Free
transfer, it's value. Yeah, I think it's depth. And I think, you could definitely be a starting right back in the Premier League. No doubt about it. For me, Forest needed to sort of figure out their identity a bit more this year. And I think they're figuring it out as they go. I think the forward line is sussed. I think they know what they've got going forward. It's in that midfield area and that sort of defensive line where, especially like the wing backs, we don't really like. It's not really been their strength like last season. They conceded quite a lot of goals last season as well. So I think they will want to sort of make that their primary focus this year.
Yeah. One signing that we didn't talk about that they signed, Danilo in centre mid.
Yeah, brilliant.
Really good player.
Really, really good player. But yeah, they made brilliant signings last season all throughout. But they made so many of them that it went under sort of under the radar.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, we'll get on to talk about how they're going to line up in their first game of the season against your boys.
The bloody boys.
The bloody Gooners.
So, first game of the season against mighty Arsenal, who they beat on the penultimate game of last season.
Yeah, Taiwan, you know?
Yeah, and so it'll be a good kind of barometer to see what they've done during pre-season, how they've developed signing-wise. So in goal, it's going to be either Hennessy or Matt Turner for me. I think they'll get one of those two over the line, and I think that is it. They got Felipe at centre-back that I quite like. Joe
Worrell's good, yeah.
And Niakate, I think, is a decent defensive unit. I'd like some, and we say this a lot about teams lower down the table, but an experienced Prem head.
Yeah, agreed.
I think in there would be good. But then a kind of midfield unit, here they've got Mangala and Yates, but I think what they'll do is not play one of those two. And I think you'll play Danilo in one of those roles, and it's Danilo and someone else.
Yeah, I like Yates. I think Yates is like gives you sort of a lot of passing range.
They've got Renan Lodi on the left-hand side, but he's gone back to Atletico Madrid. They haven't made that move permanent.
That's it.
So that's another area that they need to look into, because he's a big loss. He is Champions League pedigree.
There's a reason Atletico Madrid.
He's set piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they need to look into that. But like we said, the front three is kind of where the magic happens, or the front four of Morgan Gibbs-White, wide players of Elanga and Brennan Johnson, and then Taiwan up top is nice.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like I don't know whether you have Lodi. Obviously, Lodi's gone, so you have Elanga maybe try and play like a left wing role, like a left wing back role, and then you play Morgan Gibbs-White as that forward, sort of like just off the striker.
Yeah, maybe.
So you have like a front three of Awani, Morgan Gibbs-White,
and
Brennan Johnson, and then you've got maybe Oriel or Aina or Laina. And Elanga as sort of those wide defensive players, because that's it's going to be interesting. But all I know is that Steve Cooper knows what he's doing.
Stevie Coops, we believe in you. Let us know, Nottingham Forest fans. How do you think this season is going to pan out? Are you confident going into the season? Because I know last season you're probably going into the Prem for the first time in a while, thinking, "Shit, this could be a long season." But you've survived. How are you feeling going into your second season in the Prem?
Yeah. Let us know down below. Is there anyone else who you think they need to get across the line? A goalkeeper, perhaps, or someone else to fill out that defensive line? Maybe bring a little bit of experience in. Let us know down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. It's very much appreciated. We would love it if you could hit that subscribe button. We'll bring you content all the way up to the start and past the beginning of the Premier League season. We've got previews of every single team either out or coming out before the season starts. And yeah, we'll be bringing you those weekly podcasts, plus a lot more content this year. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss anything. Thank you guys for watching. It's been BoreDraw, and it's live.